Chen's hands trembled as she stared at the two identical faces across the marble table, both devastatingly handsome, both waiting for her answer. The one in black leaned forward, his voice cold as winter.
Your mother has 6 months to live.
6 months to live.
We can save her.
We can save her.
All you have to do is
All you
marry
have
us.
to do is
Both
marry
of
us. Both of us. The other smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You have 12 hours to decide, Emma. Your mother doesn't have longer than that. Hello besties, Happy New Year. Welcome to Afro-Korean Stories. Please like, share and subscribe. Also turn on the notification button so you won't miss out on more intense stories like this. 3 hours earlier, Emma had been sitting in her mother's hospital room at Samsung Medical Center, watching monitors beep their steady rhythm while her world crumbled. The oncologist's words still echoed in her skull like a death sentence. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe less. There was an experimental treatment in Switzerland, cutting-edge immunotherapy that showed promise, but the costs made Emma's vision blur. $3 million. They couldn't afford $3,000. Her mother, Angela Chen, lay sleeping, her brown skin ashen against white hospital sheets, her once vibrant face now gaunt and tired. She looked so small, so fragile, nothing like the woman who'd raised 4 children alone after Emma's father disappeared, working 3 jobs to put food on the table and clothes on their backs. Emma's younger siblings were back in their tiny apartment in Itaewon, probably microwaving whatever was left in the fridge, waiting for their big sister to come home and tell them everything would be okay. But nothing was okay. Emma worked as a barista at a cafe in Gangnam, barely making enough to cover their rent and her mother's current medical bills. Her savings account had exactly 43,000 won in it. She'd already sold everything of value they owned. There was nothing left to sell except herself. And even that wouldn't be worth $3 million. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost deleted it, but desperation made people do strange things. We can save her. Meet us at Signal Seoul Presidential Suite. Come alone. A car is waiting outside. Emma's first instinct was to block the number. This was obviously a scam, something sick and cruel preying on desperate daughters. But then she looked at her mother's pale face, heard the labored breathing, thought about her siblings crying at a funeral in 6 months, and found herself walking to the hospital entrance. A black Mercedes waited at the curb, exactly as the message promised. The driver, an older man with kind eyes and a professional demeanor, opened the door without speaking. Emma should have run. Every rational thought screamed danger. Instead, she climbed inside because desperate daughters do desperate things. The hotel loomed ahead, all glass and gold, the kind of place where people like Emma only entered through service entrances. Rain hammered the windows as Seoul's lights blurred past. The driver remained silent, and Emma's mind raced with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. Human trafficking. Organ harvesting. Some twisted game by bored rich people. The elevator ride to the top floor felt like ascending to judgment. When the doors opened, 2 men stood waiting. Identical. Perfect. Terrifying. They couldn't have been more than 30, both over 6 feet tall with the kind of faces that belonged on magazine covers. Sharp jawlines, intense dark eyes, expensive haircuts that probably cost more than Emma's monthly salary. But there was something different about them beyond their clothes. The one on the left wore all black, a tailored suit that screamed dangerous money. He leaned against the wall with arms crossed, studying Emma like she was a problem to solve. His eyes were cold, calculating, missing nothing. The one on the right wore charcoal gray, softer somehow, though no less intimidating. His smile was welcoming but controlled, practiced, the smile of someone who'd learned to weaponize charm. Emma Chen, the smiling one, spoke first, his voice smooth as aged whiskey with a slight Korean accent that made her name sound exotic. I'm Choi Jae-won. This is my brother, Tae-won. Please come in. He gestured to the suite behind them with the casual grace of someone accustomed to obedience. Emma's legs moved on autopilot, carrying her past them into opulence that felt obscene. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased Seoul's glittering sprawl. Furniture that looked like art pieces. A space bigger than her entire apartment building. The door clicked shut behind her with finality that made her stomach drop. Tae-won moved to the bar without asking, pouring 3 glasses of something amber and expensive. Jae-won guided Emma to a white leather sofa with a hand on her lower back that felt too familiar for strangers. She jerked away instinctively. He smiled, that practiced smile, and gestured for her to sit. "You're wondering how we know about your mother," Jae-won said, settling into the chair across from her with casual elegance, crossing his legs like they were discussing the weather instead of her dying parent. Taewon appeared beside her, pressing a crystal glass into her hand. His fingers brushed hers deliberately, and when she flinched, something flickered in his eyes. Amusement, maybe, or interest. He handed the second glass to his brother, and kept the third for himself. "We make it our business to know everything that happens in Seoul," Taewon said, his voice deeper than Jae-won's, rougher around the edges like gravel wrapped in silk. "Your mother's case came to our attention. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The experimental treatment in Switzerland. $3 million you don't have." He paused, sipping his drink while his eyes never left her face. "We can save her." Emma set down the glass, untouched. Her hands were shaking too badly to hold it steady. "Why would you help us? We're nobody." "I'm nobody." "You're not nobody," Taewon said flatly. "Not anymore." Jae-won leaned forward, elbows on his knees, his expression shifting to something almost gentle. "We're the heads of the Choi family business empire. Powerful, wealthy, and in need of something money can't buy." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "Legitimacy." "We need a wife," Taewon added bluntly, no softness in his delivery. "Both of us. One woman married to both brothers. It's unconventional, but we don't care about convention." Emma's brain short-circuited. She stood abruptly, headed for the door, but Taewon was faster. He didn't touch her, just positioned himself between her and the exit, a wall of expensive fabric and controlled muscle. His presence alone was enough to stop her. "Sit," he said, not unkindly but with the absolute certainty of someone used to being obeyed. "Listen. Then decide if your pride is worth more than your mother's life." The cruelty of it, the brutal truth of it, made Emma want to scream. But he was right, and they both knew it. She returned to the sofa, sitting on the edge like she might need to run again. Jae-won's expression held sympathy that looked genuine. "Our family business requires certain appearances. Marriage to the right woman, someone who can stand beside us at social functions, represent the family well, help us navigate Seoul's elite circles. We've been under pressure from the family council to marry strategically, to strengthen alliances through arranged marriages with other powerful families. We refuse to be controlled that way," Taewon cut in, his jaw tight with old anger. "We choose our own path. Which means we need a wife who isn't connected to any of the families trying to manipulate us. Someone outside their influence. Someone like you." Emma's laugh came out hysterical and sharp. "You want me to marry you? Both of you? That's insane. It's probably illegal." "Not in our world," Jae-won said calmly. "We have lawyers who can make anything legal. The paperwork will show you married to Jae-won officially, but you'll be wife to both of us in every way that matters." "Your mother has 6 months, Taewon said, his voice cutting through her panic like a blade. "We can have her on a plane to Switzerland in 48 hours. The best doctors, the best facility, a private villa for her recovery. Full medical care for life, not just for her but for your entire family. Your siblings' education, housing, everything. All we ask is that you marry us, stay with us for 2 years minimum, appear at our side at social functions, and play the role of devoted wife." Emma's throat closed. "And what else? What happens behind closed doors?" Something flickered in Taewon's eyes, dark and heated. "Nothing you don't agree to. We're not monsters, Emma. We're businessmen who need a bride. What happens between us beyond the contract is entirely up to you." Jae-won stood, pulled a sleek black card from his pocket, and placed it on the table between them. Gold embossed letters spelled out both their names and a phone number. "You have 12 hours to decide. Your mother doesn't have longer than that. The treatment needs to start immediately or it won't work." Emma stared at the card, her vision blurring with tears she refused to shed in front of them. "How do I know you'll keep your word? That you won't just use me and abandon my mother once you get what you want?" "You don't," Taewon said honestly. "You have to trust us. Or more accurately, You have to decide if the risk of trusting us is worth the certainty of watching your mother die. The drive back to her apartment was a blur of rain and neon lights. Emma sat in the back of the Mercedes, the black card burning a hole in her pocket, Taewon's words echoing in her head. 12 hours. Her mother didn't have longer than that. She climbed the stairs to their tiny apartment, each step heavier than the last. Inside, her siblings were asleep on the floor mattresses they shared. 14-year-old Marcus, 12-year-old Sarah, and 8-year-old Justin, all curled together like puppies seeking warmth. They looked so young, so innocent, completely unaware that their world was ending. Emma sat on her own mattress in the corner and cried silently into her pillow until no tears came. Then she called the hospital. The night nurse answered, her voice professionally gentle. I'm calling about Angela Chen. How is she? A pause. Are you family? I'm her daughter. Another pause, longer this time. Her vitals are declining. We've made her comfortable, but you should probably come soon. By morning, we'll need to discuss hospice options. Emma ended the call and stared at the black card in her hands. Choi Jae-won. Choi Tae-won. A phone number embossed in gold. Her mother had sacrificed everything for them, worked herself to exhaustion, never complained, never asked for anything, gave up her own dreams so her children could eat, could go to school, could have chances she never had. Now Emma had the power to save her, and all it would cost was 2 years of her life. Maybe more. Maybe everything. Before you continue watching, I need you to do something that takes literally 2 seconds, but means everything to this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. You see, every time someone watches without subscribing, it tells the algorithm this content isn't worth promoting. That means fewer people get to experience these stories. Fewer daughters hear about the sacrifices we make for family. Fewer people understand the impossible choices love demands. Your subscription isn't just a number, it's a vote that this story, this channel, this community matters. Don't let this story disappear into the void. Subscribe now, and let's build something beautiful together. At 5 in the morning, with dawn breaking over Seoul's skyline, Emma dialed the number. Jae-won answered on the first ring, like he'd been waiting beside his phone all night. Yes. His voice was alert, no trace of sleep. Emma took a breath that felt like jumping off a cliff. Yes. I'll do it. Silence stretched for 3 heartbeats. Then, smart girl. We'll handle everything. A car will pick you up at noon. Pack light. We'll provide everything you need. Your mother will be on a plane to Switzerland by tomorrow evening. He hung up before Emma could change her mind, before doubt could take root and grow. She sat in the gray morning light and felt like she'd just sold her soul. Maybe she had. The next hours passed in a dissociative haze. Emma packed a small suitcase with clothes that suddenly felt shabby and wrong. She left a note for her siblings, vague and reassuring, promising she'd gotten a new job with housing included, that she'd call soon, that everything would be okay. She didn't tell them about their mother's treatment. Didn't tell them about the twins. Didn't tell them she was about to become a wife to 2 strangers. At 11:30, she kissed each of her sleeping siblings and whispered promises she wasn't sure she could keep. At noon exactly, the Mercedes pulled up outside. The same driver, the same kind eyes, the same professional silence that felt like complicity. The Choi estate sat in Gangnam-gu, where Seoul's elite breathed rarefied air behind high walls and armed guards. The gates opened automatically as they approached, security cameras tracking their progress. The mansion itself was a masterpiece of modern architecture meeting traditional Korean aesthetics, all clean lines and elegant curves, glass and stone and old wood harmonizing in ways that shouldn't work but did. Jae-won waited at the entrance, wearing casual clothes that still screamed wealth. Cream linen pants, a black silk shirt, platinum watch that probably cost more than Emma's entire life. He smiled when he saw her, warm and welcoming, and she had to remind herself this was a transaction, not a romance. Welcome home, Emma. Home. The word felt foreign on his lips. In this place, in this situation. This wasn't home. This was a gilded cage she'd walked into willingly. He led her through rooms that could house families. A living area with ceilings 3 stories high. A dining room with a table that could seat 30. A kitchen that looked like it belonged in a 5-star restaurant. Emma tried not to gape, tried to maintain some dignity, but it was impossible. She'd never seen this much wealth concentrated in one place. Your suite is on the 3rd floor, Jae-won explained as they climbed a floating staircase that looked like art. You'll have complete privacy. Our rooms are on either side of yours, connected by interior doors that only open from your side. You control who enters your space. Her suite was bigger than her entire apartment had been. A king bed with silk sheets in deep burgundy. A sitting area with a sofa and chairs arranged around a fireplace. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking manicured gardens that stretched to a horizon of Seoul's skyline. A walk-in closet already filled with clothes in her exact size. Designer labels she'd only seen in magazines. A bathroom with a tub that could fit 3 people and a shower with more settings than her brain could process. How did you know my measurements? Emma asked, running her hand over a silk dress that probably cost more than a month's rent. Jae-won leaned against the doorframe, his expression unreadable. We're thorough. Everything in that closet is yours. Wear what you like, donate what you don't. This is your home now, Emma. For the next 2 years minimum. 2 years. Spoken aloud, it felt like a prison sentence and a rescue simultaneously. Where's your brother? The question came out sharper than intended. As if summoned, Taewon appeared behind Jae-won, shoving past him into Emma's space with none of his brother's careful courtesy. He was dressed similarly casual, black everything, his presence somehow larger and more intense than his identical twins. His eyes swept over Emma, assessing, cataloging, seeing too much. Settling in? His tone was neutral, but something lurked beneath it. Emma lifted her chin, refusing to be intimidated despite her racing heart. Your brother was just leaving so I could unpack. Taewon's laugh was short and sharp. I like her. She's got spine. He moved closer, close enough that Emma could smell his cologne, something dark and woodsy that made her head spin. Let's establish something right now, Emma. We don't do games. We don't do manipulation. You're here because we made a deal. Honor it and everyone's happy. Break it and... Enough. Jae-won grabbed his shoulder, pulling him back. You're scaring her. She should be scared, Taewon said, his eyes never leaving Emma's face. This world eats soft things alive. I'm not soft, Emma said, the words coming out stronger than she felt. Taewon's smile was all teeth. Good. You'll need that. Then he was gone, leaving tension thick enough to choke on. Jae-won sighed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. I apologize for my brother. He's intense, but he's not wrong. This world is dangerous, Emma. We have enemies, rivals, people who would love to use you as leverage against us. That's why you'll have security with you always when you leave the house. Former special forces, the best money can buy. Emma's stomach dropped. I'm a prisoner. You're protected, Jae-won corrected gently. There's a difference. Learn it fast. He moved toward the door, paused at the threshold. Dinner is at 7. Casual dress. We'll discuss the wedding tomorrow. Tomorrow. Emma's voice cracked. The wedding is tomorrow? His smile was apologetic but firm. We move quickly. No point delaying. Small ceremony, just legal requirements and a few witnesses. You'll sign papers making you Mrs. Choi. Sleep well, Emma. Tomorrow changes everything. He left, the door clicking shut with finality that made Emma's chest tight. She sank onto the edge of that enormous bed and tried to process what was happening. 24 hours ago, she'd been a barista worried about rent. Now she was in a mansion, about to marry 2 men she didn't know. Becoming part of a world she didn't understand. Her phone buzzed. She'd almost forgotten she still had it. The screen showed an unknown number, but when she answered, her mother's voice came through, weak but confused. Emma? Baby, what's happening? These men came to the hospital, said you arranged everything, that I'm being transferred to Switzerland, but the cost. Mama. Emma cut her off, her voice breaking despite her best efforts. Don't worry about the cost. I got a new job, a really good one. They're taking care of everything. Just focus on getting better, okay? I love you. I love you too, baby, but Emma, what did you do? What kind of job pays for this? Emma closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. I'm going to be okay, Mama. Better than okay. Just get better. Please. She hung up before her mother could ask more questions, before Emma had to explain that she'd sold herself to save the woman who'd given her life. She curled up on silk sheets that felt like luxury and loneliness combined, and cried herself to sleep. A knock woke her hours later. The room was dark, Sol's lights twinkling through the windows like fallen stars. Emma stumbled to the door, opened it to find an elegant older woman with kind eyes and silver streaking through her black hair. I'm Mrs. Park, dear. I manage the household. The masters asked me to bring you this. She handed Emma a tablet, the screen already glowing with a video feed. Emma's breath caught. Her mother sat in what looked like a private jet, confusion written across her face, but looking healthier than she had in months. A doctor in a white coat was explaining something, gesturing to medical equipment. In the background, through the plane's windows, clouds streaked past. She's already en route to Switzerland, Mrs. Park said softly. The doctors there are expecting her. She'll be settled in the villa by tonight, starting treatment tomorrow morning. The tablet slipped from Emma's hands. Mrs. Park caught it gracefully, her smile understanding. You did a brave thing, Miss Emma. Not many daughters would sacrifice so much. Emma wanted to tell her it wasn't sacrifice when there was no choice, but the words wouldn't come. Mrs. Park squeezed her shoulder. Dinner is in an hour. I've laid out something appropriate. The masters are looking forward to getting to know you better. After she left, Emma showered in that ridiculous bathroom, letting hot water wash away tears and terror. She dressed in the clothes Mrs. Park had selected. A simple but elegant black dress that fit perfectly, understated jewelry that probably cost more than a car. When she looked in the mirror, she saw a stranger. Someone who could belong in this world. Even if she didn't feel like she did. Dinner was in a smaller dining room, though still larger than any Emma had eaten in. The table sat 12 but was set for 3. All the plates clustered at one end in an illusion of intimacy. Both twins were already there, dressed in casual elegance that made Emma feel simultaneously overdressed and underprepared. Jae-won stood when she entered, pulling out the chair between them. You look beautiful. Taewon didn't stand, didn't smile, just tracked her movement with those intense eyes. Seat. You must be starving. Emma realized she hadn't eaten since yesterday. Her stomach growled as if on cue, and despite everything, she had to fight a smile. The food appeared as if by magic, served by silent staff who moved like shadows. Korean dishes she recognized mixed with others she'd never seen, each plate a work of art. Tell us about yourself, Jae-won said, his tone conversational as he poured her wine. Your family, your life before this. Emma picked at her food, her appetite warring with nerves. There's not much to tell. My father left when I was 10. My mother raised 4 of us alone, worked multiple jobs. I graduated high school, started working to help support the family. We've been surviving barely for years. She paused, met both their eyes. Until now. Your siblings, Taewon said, not quite a question. Marcus, Sarah, Justin. They're being taken care of. We've arranged for their school fees, new housing, everything they need. Emma's fork clattered against her plate. How do you know their names? We told you, Jae-won said gently. We're thorough. When we decided you would be ours, we made sure to understand everything about you. Your family is our family now, Emma. Their well-being is our responsibility. The possessiveness in his words should have frightened her. Instead, something warm unfurled in her chest. No one had ever taken care of her family before. They'd always been the ones struggling, surviving, falling through every crack society offered. Why me? The question burst out before Emma could stop it. Really? Don't say legitimacy or business. You could hire any woman, pay them enough to play this role. Why specifically me? The twins exchanged a look, some silent communication passing between them. Finally, Taewon spoke, his voice rougher than usual. Because when we saw your picture in the hospital records our investigator pulled, something clicked. You weren't trying to be beautiful, weren't playing angles, just a daughter desperate to save her mother. That kind of love is rare, Emma. That kind of loyalty. That's what we want beside us. So you exploited it, Emma said, the words bitter on her tongue. Yes, Jae-won didn't flinch. We're not good men, Emma. We've done terrible things to build this empire, destroyed people who stood in our way, made choices that keep us awake at night. But we honor our deals. Your mother will get the best care money can buy. You'll want for nothing. And if after 2 years you want to leave, we'll let you go with enough money to start whatever life you choose. It should have been comforting. Instead, it felt like a prison sentence with a far-off parole date. And if I want to leave before 2 years? The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Taewon's expression hardened into something dangerous. Then the deal is void. We pull medical support, financial support, everything. What happens to your mother after that is unfortunate, but not our responsibility. The cruelty of it stole Emma's breath. You'd let her die? We'd return to the status quo before we intervened, Jaewon said carefully. What happens after is beyond our control. Emma stood abruptly, her chair scraping against marble. I need air. Neither tried to stop her as she fled to the gardens, her heels sinking into perfect grass as rain began to fall. The pool glowed blue in the darkness, steam rising from heated water. Emma sat on the edge, letting rain soak through her expensive dress, and let herself feel everything she'd been holding back. Terror, anger, grief for the life she'd given up, relief that her mother would live, confusion about these two men who held her future in their perfectly manicured hands. Footsteps approached through the rain. Emma didn't turn. Go away. Taewon sat beside her anyway, too close, his thigh brushing hers. You're wondering if you made a mistake. It wasn't a question, so Emma didn't answer. He was quiet for a long moment, rain plastering his dark hair to his forehead, soaking through his expensive shirt. My mother died when I was 16. Cancer like yours. We had money for treatment, but she refused it. Said she'd lived enough, that we should save resources for the family business. His voice was flat, emotionless, but something flickered in his eyes. She died in pain because she was stubborn. I watched her waste away for 8 months. Emma looked at him then, really looked at him. Water dripped down his sharp jaw, his eyes dark and haunted. I'm sorry. He shrugged. Don't be. I'm telling you because I understand why you're here. You love your mother enough to sacrifice anything. That's not weakness, Emma. It's strength. The same strength we need in a wife. I don't understand what you want from me, Emma whispered. You say it's business, but then you talk about strength and loyalty like they're love. Taewon's hand came up, cupping her face with surprising gentleness. His thumb brushed water from her cheek, rain or tears, she couldn't tell. Maybe they are love. Maybe we don't know the difference yet. But we will. You'll teach us. Before Emma could respond, he stood and walked away, leaving her more confused than before. She sat in the rain until she was shivering, until Jaewon appeared with a towel and guided her inside with gentle hands and worried eyes. That night, Emma barely slept. The bed was too soft, the room too quiet, her mind too loud with everything that had happened. Tomorrow she'd become a wife. Tomorrow her life would change irreversibly. Tomorrow she'd belong to them in ways she still didn't fully understand. Morning came with Mrs. Park and a team of stylists who descended on Emma like beautiful locusts. Hair, makeup, nails, skin treatments she'd never heard of. They plucked and polished until Emma didn't recognize her reflection. The dress they brought made her breath catch. White silk that draped like water, modern cut with traditional Korean elements, a perfect fusion of cultures like Emma herself. She looked like a bride. She felt like an actress playing a role in someone else's story. The ceremony happened in the mansion's garden under an arch of white orchids. An officiant who asked no questions. A handful of witnesses Emma didn't know. And the twins, standing side by side in matching black suits, looking like they owned the world. Because they did. The vows were simple, clinical. Do you, Emma-chan, take these men? Yes. She said it because the alternative was watching her mother die. They said yes for reasons Emma still didn't understand, still didn't trust. Rings appeared. Platinum bands with diamonds that caught light like captured fire. Jaewon slid his onto her finger with a gentle smile that might have been real or might have been performance. Taewon's touch was possessive, his eyes intense as he pushed the metal into place, marking her as theirs. You may kiss your bride. Jaewon moved first, cupping Emma's face with surprising tenderness, pressing his lips to hers softly, briefly, a whisper of promise. Taewon wasn't gentle. He pulled Emma against him, claimed her mouth with heat and demand, making a statement for everyone watching. She was theirs now. Completely. The party afterward was bigger than Emma expected. Seoul's elite filled the mansion's ballroom. All curious eyes and calculating smiles. Women in dresses that cost more than cars. Men in suits that screamed power. They all wanted to meet the woman who'd tamed the Choi twins. Wanted to understand this unconventional arrangement. Wanted to find weaknesses they could exploit. Emma played her part. Hand in hand with first one twin, then the other, accepting congratulations on the most scandalous marriage of the season. Smile fixed, back straight, pretending she belonged in their world. She's beautiful, a woman in emerald silk said to Jae-won, looking at Emma like she was furniture. Where did you find her? His arm tightened around Emma's waist, possessive and protective. She found us. We're the lucky ones. The woman laughed, but her eyes were calculated, measured, and judged. Emma felt like prey among predators who all knew rules she'd never learned. Taewon rescued Emma from another round of invasive questions, pulling her onto the dance floor without asking. His hands splayed across her lower back, holding her too close as they moved to music she didn't recognize. The chandeliers overhead cast prismatic light across the ballroom, making everything feel dreamlike and surreal. Smile, he murmured against her ear, his breath warm. Everyone's watching, deciding if we made a mistake choosing you. Emma forced her lips to curve, muscle memory from years of customer service kicking in. Did you? His eyes met hers, dark and unreadable in the dim light. Ask me in a year.